Hello, everybody. Welcome to our Beach Connection session today with our lovely Student Health Services team. Really happy to have you all here. If you don't know who I am, my name is Nina Luxon. I am the program coordinator for new student and family programs, and I mainly work with you all. I work with parents and families throughout the semester, throughout the academic year, throughout the summer. So I'm here as a resource for you if you have any questions. If you have not attended parent and family orientation yet, and you are planning to, you will see me there as well. So just let us know if you have any questions. A few housekeeping items before we present. I am going to ask all folks if you have questions, please feel free to submit them in the either chat box or the Q&A box below. That way we can make sure that we are getting your questions answered. This will function as we'll have a presentation first from our lovely representative, and then at the very end we will do live Q&A. So you can submit any questions that you have, and they will be answered live at the end. And yeah, thank you for making the time to come out today. Please remain muted throughout the duration of the presentation and minimize distraction if you can. And otherwise, I will hand it over to Heidi, who has been working with PFO for a long time, to begin the presentation about student health services. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Heidi Ortiz. I am one of the staff at Student Health Services. Really happy to be here with you all today and give you a little bit more information about one of our amazing health and wellness resources on campus here to support your student. I'm sure that you'll have a lot of questions. So I'm going to do my very best to answer what questions those are. And so I've prepared for you a few slides with information about our clinic and all the wonderful services that are available for your student. So we'll go ahead and get started. Let's see here. I think everybody can see that. So thank you again for being here with me today. One of the common questions that students and families often will ask about the clinic is, what types of services are available, who works there. Um, we do have a wonderful team of clinicians and staff that are available to provide a number of primary care services. We are a nationally accredited facility. We do go through a very special, particular process every few years to make sure that we're on point and we're doing what we can to serve our students in the best possible way. So it's a rigorous process that we do take pride in, and we always pass with flying colors. So um, this is just a short list of some of the services that are available to you, your student. But essentially, we are providing primary care services. We do offer specialty care also in sports medicine. This is particularly important for any student athletes that are with us. Gender affirming care, reproductive health. We offer immunization support. We have a laboratory on site. So any students that are coming in for an appointment, perhaps they're needing, some labs run, anything like that, we can certainly assist with that. I always like to highlight one of our gems, which is the pharmacy. So the pharmacy is available for faculty, staff, and students. A lot of what we offer in the pharmacy is relatively cheap. I always talk about this. Any opportunity that I get to be in front of a group of students on campus, highlighting all of the over-the-counter products that are available for them, cheaper than they would find at CVS, Target, Walgreens. You can see our most popular items on our website as well. If you just go to the Student Health Services website, there is a tab that will take you to the pharmacy, and you can see what those items are. We also offer different prescriptions as well for any of those needs as well. X-ray, we can provide these services for our students. Health education, which is the area that I specifically work in, case management, and most recently we just began the implementation of our dental hygiene services. So this is really exciting for us. We are doing this in collaboration with West Coast University, which is located in the city of Anaheim. But once a week, we have representatives from this school that will be coming into Student Health Services to provide basic dental hygiene services. So this is very exciting for us. I will talk a little bit more about how students can access these services in a little bit. Another service that we offer for our students is available through the Office of Wellness and Health Promotion. So this is pretty much our health education. We offer a variety of individual sessions, and we also have a number of topics that are available via workshops and classes. So on campus throughout the academic year, we might get requests from student groups, professors to come out and provide this type of information to their students. But they also have the option to come into the clinic and request individualized sessions in any of these topics. So we do offer nutrition counseling. We have an excellent registered dietitian who meets with students for any of those needs, can kind of discuss, individual plans that they might be looking for. Maybe they just need a little bit of assistance while they're here at the beach, right? They're living away from home and they're kind of struggling with meal planning and so forth. We also offer sexual health education, which would cover information around birth control, pregnancy options, STI, HIV diagnosis information. We also make our quit smoking services available to students. So this will give them the option to seek support if they are smoking or using vapes. We do provide students with all of the nicotine replacement products for free. As long as they're a student, they can come in, meet with a health educator, kind of discuss what they've used in the past, what hasn't worked, what has worked, and we'll, figure out, a plan that works for them. We also offer naloxone. So this is the opioid reversal medication that's available across many campuses and universities and in the community. So we do provide education and training for this and make it available for free. We also have substance use and abuse counseling for any students that might be struggling in this area a little bit. There is a dedicated staff member that can certainly support them in this area. And then the workshops that you see listed there are also just kind of, they can sign up, they can drop in whenever is convenient for them. And everything is available for free. The hours for student health services, we are open all year, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. On Wednesdays, we typically open an hour later, just to allow for staff to, have training or staff meetings, but we are open during those hours. It's very easy for students to access the services available here at the clinic. They can call to schedule appointments, the number that you see on the screen. Walk-ins are also welcome. So while students are sometimes navigating the new resources on campus, I know that they're getting a lot of information during their orientation and the weeks leading up to that first week of classes. So it could be a little bit daunting, right? So please, as their parent, as their guardian, encourage them to just, take, charge of their of their questions, of their own health. If there's something that they are struggling in, please tell them that we're more than happy to assist them with what they're dealing with and just kind of point them in the right direction. Although we do have set hours for the clinic, we do have students who sometimes have needs either in the evening, weekends, holidays, maybe they're not feeling well. We do have a dedicated after hours nurse advice line that they can call. They'll speak to somebody who will give them some next steps on how to proceed with whatever situation they are dealing with. We are located on the corner of Beach Drive and Marion Way. So this is right across from the G1 lot, next to housing and across from the nursing department. So for those of you that have already, had the opportunity to come and, tour the campus and just familiarize yourself with different areas, it might look, pretty small, but I can assure you that we've got quite a lot to offer inside. A lot of questions do typically come up around immunization requirements. We do have this information also posted on the Student Health Services website, but these are the requirements as of 2026. Just, if there is something that you are particularly curious about, we are more than happy to answer those questions. We do have a dedicated email inbox email address that you can submit some of those questions to right at the very bottom. And I can also share that at the very end. I believe I do have the information at the very end on my slides. You can call the clinic, or we can just direct you to the appropriate individual. But you can kind of see what is required. I believe there is a due date of July 17th that all of this information does need to be uploaded onto your student portal. So before they can upload any of this information, there are a few requirements that are listed on the website. But again, I can provide a little bit more information at the very end once I start answering a few questions. Right now, as you can imagine, is a very busy time for parents and families that are just kind of getting in all the required documentation. If any of you are running into any issues with uploading some of this information, do not fear. It's a very common thing that we experience around this time. So we usually have plenty of staff to help answer those questions and help problem solve. Now, making appointments at the clinic is very easy. I've already talked about a few of those options, but students are available to call the main line to schedule those appointments. They can also use the patient portal, the Student Health Services button or Chicklet application that they can see on their single sign-on page. And this is something that I would definitely encourage you to just spend some time with your student to, familiarize themselves with, because whenever they come in for that first visit, they may be asked to complete a few basic forms prior to that first visit. And this is how they would get to those forms. So clicking on this application, it will take them to that part of the website where they will fill out the necessary information. Parents will often ask, how can I assist my student? How can I help them? What's the best way that I can support them? Although we are preparing our students for college, sending them off, hoping for them to take charge and advocate for for themselves, they still need some assistance, and that is okay. So please spend a little bit of time going over their overall health history. If they are dealing with any sort of allergies, or if they do take any medications, making sure that they understand all the prescribing details of what it is that they are taking. So when they do come in to their first visit, they feel very confident and know exactly how to communicate that to the provider that they're going to be meeting with. Now, in terms of confidentiality, we do respect our students' privacy and right to confidentiality. Oftentimes, parents will ask, well, can I come with them to that first appointment? Unfortunately, the answer is no. Students that are 18 and older, no information is given to the parents or guardians. If we do have students that are under the age of 18, there is a form that needs to be signed, which is the consent for treatment form, which can be found on our website. So when you go into the first page of our website, there is a tab that's specifically highlighted medical forms. That is where you will find that consent for treatment form that is required. Another common question that tends to come up is around the health fee, or what type of insurance that we take, or do you bill health insurance? And we do not require it. We do not bill health insurance at all. The student health fee is already included in tuition, so that gives the student access to all the services that we have here. Now, there are some out-of-pocket costs, which do include medications and over-the-counter items. So those are items that aren't covered by that fee. But like I said earlier, much of what you will find at the pharmacy is really well priced. Many of the items that you would find for prescription medications tend to be more generic. And for more information on that, I can certainly give you some details on where to send those questions. Immunizations would also be out of pocket. So if a student is in need of, some type of immunization, maybe they're planning to study abroad and they want to come in before, to make sure they're all, they're all set, we can certainly assist them with that. And then some lab tests as well would also be an out-of-pocket fee. But for everything else that I've discussed with, the offerings from the Office of Wellness and Health Promotion, the workshops, the services that can be offered via the registered dietitian, all that is covered and is a part of that. So we don't bill health insurance. But with this said, if any of you do have your student on your health insurance plan, please do not take them off because it's always recommended that students have some form of health insurance for any type of specialty care, emergencies, that would not be covered by our clinic. So if they do have a plan, if you do have them under your plan, make sure they have a copy of their own health insurance card with them at all times. What happens if a student needs health insurance? We can certainly help them look for that. This is something that we would typically go through Covered California, but we do have individuals here in the clinic that can assist them navigate that whole process. It can be a little bit daunting, even just accessing services that aren't necessarily covered here. Maybe your student is in dire need of some glasses, right? They're starting to notice their vision's a little, being affected. We can certainly go through one of our referral nurses to assist them in locating some services off campus, and then kind of look at the type of insurance that they have. But there's a lot of support in these areas. I always tell students that it could be a little tricky when you're kind of in that place to start making these decisions on your own, even with just the services that we offer here. But I feel very proud to work on a team that's very dedicated and always student-centered and willing to help them and make them feel comfortable with these decisions. I know I feel like I went through that very quickly, but it's just kind of a gist of what I wanted to share with you about the clinic. I highly recommend that you take advantage of the information that I've located here. We do have an email that we will often get questions about the clinic. Any of the information that I've just provided, I will also get questions about immunizations, if there are people running into any issues uploading their information. You can certainly submit those questions to wellness@csulb.edu. This is available for the students as well throughout the academic year if they're just running into any problems or, hi, I noticed that you have the following service up on your website. How do I make an appointment? That's okay. They can certainly reach out to us via that way. We have staff that are constantly monitoring the email inbox. Now, if you do have specific questions related to immunizations, any of the information that I covered around vaccines, you can submit those questions to this particular email, shs-vaccine@csulb.edu. As you can imagine, right now we are getting a high volume of questions regarding this topic. So just give us a couple of days for staff to return, give you a question or response to your particular question. Some days are a lot better. We move rather quickly, but again, we do run into this quite often every summer. Or you can always call Student Health Services for any questions. So although right now, summertime, we are open, we're available to help, to answer any questions that may come up. And then another thing that I wanted to highlight, something that I certainly encourage a lot of you to do, is to let your students know that we're very active on social media. We do have social media accounts across all these platforms where we're always updating information about the clinic. Maybe there's one day where we might have to close a little bit earlier for a special event, or there are special hours that might be offered. We will often highlight certain offerings throughout the academic year, an event on campus that we're participating in. So this is a really great place to get information if your student is looking for those opportunities. We also have a YouTube channel where we have some of our most popular videos posted for any of the offerings that I went over for the Office of Wellness and Health Promotion. So if there are any topics that are of interest to your student regarding nutrition, sexual health education, for example, we do have some wonderful videos that have already been recorded in the past that students will spend a little time viewing and observing and formulating some questions on. But let's see. So that's pretty much all I have prepared for you. I just want to welcome you all. Um, if you have any questions that I could answer for you, this would be the perfect time to go over some of that.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you, folks. If you have questions, please submit them in the chat. We're going to start answering some of these questions live. We do already have a few questions, Heidi. So
Wonderful.
the first question that we have is somebody was curious about the religious exemption forms or where to find the exemption forms for vaccinations, and how do they access those materials?
That's a great question. Yes, we do offer those exemptions. If you go to the immunizations tab on the Student Health Services website, it does list that information at the very bottom, I believe. And you just go ahead and click either link. There's one that's specific for religious exemptions, and then there's another one that's separate for medical exemptions. So you just need to click on that, fill out the necessary information, the fields that are being required, and then you should be getting a response back within a certain amount of time.
They did say that they tried to access that form, but that the link may not have been working. So do you know if there is
Oh,
another link or if they should just email
you know
somebody?
what? That's a great, yeah, I was not aware of that. Why don't you go ahead and send us an email? So at the wellness inbox, the wellness at csulb.edu. And then I also make a note of that because if it's not working, then that is something we need to fix as soon as possible. So yeah, if you send us an email, we will have somebody take a look at that right away. On our website too, you'll also find that email and just go ahead and within the next day or two, we'll have somebody take a look at that.
And I also just dropped the email in the chat. So if you need the email to
Thank
email the
you.
wellness for any of those forms, I also inputted the medical release forms that we were talking about, medical release, like a release of information or a authorized to treatment for students that are under the age of 18. All of that is available in the chat as well. So you can click on those links or email wellness@CSULB. Awesome. The next question that we have is the clinic helpline available if a student has private insurance?
Let's see. The clinic is available. Yes, it's available. If they do have private insurance, we don't bill it. In other words, it's not required to access the services here. It's great that they have something though, because I always encourage all students to have some form of plan. Okay, because there are some services that we might not be able to provide. Again, it's basic primary care. Think of like urgent care type of services. But if there's something that's a little bit higher caliber, then we would need to refer out. If they're coming in with a more higher level of needing a higher level of care, then that's something that they would probably be encouraged to go through their private insurance for.
And I think it says, is the clinic helpline available? I'm not sure if there's a specific
Oh,
helpline.
um, the helpline, would it be the advice line perhaps? I'm not quite sure. That would be available for any student that's available. And that's just again after hours, it would be available for them.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, the next question that we received, can students come in for a physical even if they did not see their doctor while in school?
Absolutely. Yes, they can come in for that. So once they start classes in the fall, if that's one of the first things that they want to do, I highly encourage you to let them know to go ahead and set that up. And, they'll go ahead and be, guided through that whole process upon calling or if they need to walk in. But as long as they can upload as much information as possible through their single sign-on, going in through the portal, again, that'll just kind of make for a little bit better experience, a little bit more guided. But if they're having questions like, I don't know what to do first, just have them call. It's perfectly fine. But yes.
Great, thank you. Okay, another question. Somebody asked, could you go over the process of how to upload immunizations a bit more? And also we had a question about the due date to submit those immunizations. So if you could just run over that whole part again, that would be
Yeah. So for the immunizations part, there is if they go to their single sign-on, I believe there will be a tab that asks them to go in through as a student. So they'll click the student part, and they need to make sure that their enrollment fee is paid first. So there's a $150 enrollment fee deposit that's required first before they start uploading any information up on their portal. And so what they typically will need is just a screenshot of their record. If they have like their immunization record with them, they can take a screenshot of that and upload it from their phone. That's not a problem. I know that
I'm telling her something about her school.
I know
sorry,
that
I muted.
that's okay. I know that for some individuals too, they've run into this situation where it's like, I don't know what happened to my vaccine card. I don't know where it's located. Um, there is a website that you can go to get that information. There's a few details that are that are requested or required that you can upload, and it'll give you all that information. So do not fear that that information is somewhere out there. But we can certainly guide you a little bit more if you're running into trouble uploading that. But all you need to do is just upload a picture of it. So you could take a snapshot with your phone. If you're going through the website to find this information, then just take a screenshot and upload it that way.
And could you remind folks of the date to submit
Oh,
those
yes.
immunizations by?
It's July 17th is the deadline.
Okay. Another question that we have is if the student is covered by parent insurance, may you choose to opt out of the university healthcare?
Great question. No, the answer is no. That's because it's already worked into their student, into the tuition. So yeah, that question does come up already. But again, it's something that gives them access to all the other services available here. But it's already part of their tuition, so that wouldn't be an option.
Okay. Another question. This says the student is 22 years old. What are the immunizations needed? So maybe it would be helpful if you pulled the immunizations slide back up, Heidi, because I know
Yeah,
that's
let's,
a lot
of
of folks like to
course.
take a picture of that slide
Yes,
in
no,
parent
that'll
orientation
be
as
good.
well.
Let me go ahead and bring that up. Okay, here we go. Okay. So here are those requirements. So all students are required to have proof of MMR. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that name. I always butcher it. And then hepatitis B. So that'll also be up on our website. And then you can see the requirements for students, if they're international students, athletic students, as you can imagine, students that are in housing have a bit more as well. Um, so yeah, that's hopefully that answered your question there. Regardless of age, if this is their first time coming to campus, that is the requirement for all the students.
I think the second vaccine is meningococcal.
Meningococcal, thank you.
Okay, another question. Is the medical release form the one we complete to access our child's health information? If our child is 18 years old, is there a different form that needs to be completed?
Okay. So there are two. There's one that if they are under the age of 18, it gives us permission to treat your student, your child in case of an emergency. So that one is up on the website. And then there is another form that the student would need to sign and fill out, giving you permission or giving permission to release their information to who they wish.
And I just responded to that question in the chat as well, again, with the medical release forms and records link. So it'll take you to the page and it'll explain the difference between the two as well. So definitely check that out.
Yes.
Okay, another question. It says, if we apply for a religious exemption and it's denied, can the student still be admitted and obtain the vaccines prior to school starting, or is there a firm deadline?
That's a great question. Let's see. No, I want to say there's there are ways to work around or with that. So while there is a deadline, we sometimes find ourselves in certain situations where, for whatever reason, beyond our control, we're not able to get it in on time. Just go ahead and reach out to us. You can send us an email or that information via the emails that I provided to you.
Awesome. If you have any other questions, folks, please submit them in the chat. Speak now or forever hold your peace. Currently, we are up to date on all of the questions.
Wonderful.
But we want to leave a couple of minutes for
Of
folks to submit any
course.
other questions. Or if you would like to unmute, you can do that as well. Just whatever is best for you all to get your questions answered.
Yeah, the website is really great. I know that earlier this summer we began going through a lot of the content that was up on the website, just because, some things are a little outdated. We need a little refreshing. But again, I tend to sometimes feel, a little bit more confident getting my answers answered directly. I don't want to be clicking around, or maybe what you're looking for just isn't in the place where you think it is. Please don't hesitate to just contact us. Just send us an email. We're really, really quick about responding to those right away. The one regarding the vaccines or immunizations, that one might just take a few days to get a response back, because that tends to be the one that we get more questions about, particularly around this time. But nonetheless, we get those answers to everyone as quickly as possible.
Thank you. We've gotten a couple more questions. So I received a direct question. It says, some time ago, this person submitted immunization requirements, but they marked in the portal the meningococcal as non-compliant.
Okay.
So they tried to submit it a second time and it's still marked as not compliant. So what does that look like if something on the medical form is not compliant, or how should they navigate that?
Yeah, go ahead and send us an email. Go ahead and send an email to the SHS vaccine email that's up on the screen, and they'll go ahead and let you know what the issue is. Sometimes it's minor, like, okay, maybe something was illegible, or I don't quite know what the situation is, but just go ahead and send us an email. Oftentimes when something gets uploaded and there's nothing wrong, you're not going to get a confirmation email like, hey, everything's good. It's just you have to kind of check back at the patient portal to see if everything went through. But if it's not obvious what the issue is, just go ahead and reach out to us, and that way we can have one of our immunization nurses take a look.
And the email for the immunizations nurses is dropped in the chat as well. I know we had a couple of folks asking about that email address, so I just put it in the chat.
Perfect.
Okay, another question. Under required vaccines for housing students, it lists TB questionnaire. Is that a vaccine or a form of questions?
There's a short questionnaire, so they need to just fill that out, right? And yeah, it's I can't remember how many questions it is, but they just need to make sure that they do fill out that questionnaire. Again, accessing it through their student portal.
Perfect. Thank you. Awesome. Another question. This says there's a meningitis vaccine required for housing, although it is 2 doses. Can the student be admitted with the first dose and catch up on the second after school starts, or do all of them need to be completed before school begins?
That is a great question, and I know this has come up in the past, and I don't want to give any misinformation. So let me see. When do I have this written down somewhere? Yeah, I didn't write this down anywhere, but I know that this has come up before. I don't think that would be an issue. I think they would be able to get caught up on it. But I don't want to give you misinformation too. So if you are able to, I would just send that question over to that same email that's in the chat for the vaccines. I will send over a quick message right now and see if there's a response that will come through before we are done here.
There was somebody said that they could not access the tuberculosis or the TB questionnaire,
Hmm.
and I'm trying to find it. Do you know where that would be available?
Let me see. That would be through their student, the portal. That
Oh,
would
through
be
the
through the
portal.
portal. Yes. So
So
that would
that's your
not be
students' portal that they would
correct.
have to navigate and access it on their
Hmm.
student health services chiplet.
Correct. Yeah, that would not be under the medical forms tab on the
Okay.
website. It would be through their portal.
Awesome. So your student will have to navigate through their student portal. They'll have to go into their student portal and click on the tab that says Student Health Services to be able to access that form and to also
Yes.
upload their immunizations. What other questions do we have, folks? This is the time. So please submit them or you can speak them, whatever you'd like to do. I think Heidi is trying to find some information to put in the chat for you all right
Yes.
now. But while that's going on, please submit your questions. I also just dropped another link in the chat. This is the immunizations page. So it really talks about all of the immunizations that are required, document submission, deadline, compliance, and exemptions. So all of that is available there with all of the links to the various forms. So I know I just got a question, where's the religious exemption form? It is on that web page. So if you go ahead and click on that web page and you scroll down, you'll be able to see where it says exemptions, and that is the place where you'll be able to access that form. So somebody said that my student says that there are no surveys currently available on the portal. I'm wondering if they clicked on the Student Health Services tab. It is a tab in their student portal, and once they get into that tab, they'll be able to see all of the requirements that are listed there. It'll either say whether the student is compliant or not compliant by that deadline. Heidi, do you have any other insight into that?
I do not. Let's see.
Trying to see if I can send a picture of what the actual little tab looks
Okay.
like. Hold on, folks. I'm finding the. Okay, so I just sent in the chat as well the Student Health Services chiplet. This is in your students' portal. So they have to go actually into their student portal and then click on Student Health Services to be taken to their Student Health Services portal. And then once they are in there, they will see there will be the three little lines up at the top, and that's where they can click on it. It says requirements, and it'll say whether or not the student has satisfied those requirements or not. And that is where they will update all of their immunizations. They'll update their consent for treatment forms, all things like that. And I'm looking at it right now.
Perfect.
So that's
Thank
what it looks
you.
like. Okay. This question says, when I clicked on the religious exemption link, it sent me to somewhere to sign in. What is that sign in?
Okay, so that is yeah, this would be for your student. So it's the authenticator that students have to go through authentication when they will get used to this way of signing in for anything on campus. All of the applications through their single sign-on, it will always ask for that second form of kind of verifying their identity. So they'll need to get through that first before they can go ahead and have access to everything else that we're um, that they're able to navigate.
Yes, Alta, to answer your question, they do have to sign in with their CSULB information. So their CSULB student email is what is going to allow them access to any of this. I do want to say that parents, these immunizations are not always something that you can submit for your student. Your student will have to go into their student portal using their student credentials and enter this information. And that's probably the biggest takeaway, is that most of this information is going to go through your student directly. So have your student go through their portal, find this and submit it. They just have to be able to take care of that business.
Yeah, and again, kind of circling back to that question regarding the MMR and the doses, I haven't received a response just to kind of confirm what was being asked. But in any case, please go ahead and submit that question to the vaccine email for a response from one of our nurses.
I will drop that email once again. Yeah, we see a couple of people saying the same thing, that they
Okay.
cannot access the survey or questionnaire tab, and I would reach out to that same email address and
Yeah.
make sure that your student is completing those requirements. The question of the exemptions. So it gives information about the exemptions, but those are through the student portal. Again, those are through the student's portal. So your student will have to find them under the Student Health Services tab. They will find all that information on their student portal. Or if you have any questions, you can also email the email that I just put in the chat as well. Okay. I'm not seeing any other questions. Again, folks, if you're having issues with the immunizations or what it says in the student portal, I would definitely email that was dropped in the chat just to make sure that your student is satisfying all of those requirements. They will go into their student portal and they'll be able to see where, once they get into the student health services, what is required as far as what to submit. Okay. Heidi, is there anything else that you want to say before we close?
No, thank you so much, everybody. Hopefully I was able to give you a little bit more information about the clinic. Again, please don't hesitate to reach out, encourage your student to contact us. We're always here to help and support them along the way. In many cases too, although the services that were highlighted for the clinic are very specific to our office here, we're always, learning about our students, in other areas that they need to be supported as they kind of journey on through the next few years with us. So we're always in a really great position to just give a warm handoff to other departments where they might need a little bit more support. So please just know that they're in good hands. We're here to guide them. And many of us were in that situation too. So it can be a little daunting, a little scary at first to just have to get all those questions answered at the beginning, but we're always happy to just guide them along the way.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for coming on. We are really happy to have you here. Before we go, I'm going to drop a few different links in the chat. The first one is for parent and family orientation. If you have not attended parent and family orientation yet, I would highly encourage you to do so. It's really helpful for all of our incoming parents to learn more about services like the Student Health Center, but also various other things that we have on our campus that are important for you to know. We also have our Beach Family newsletter. That is where we send all of our information for parents and families every 2 weeks. We send information via the newsletter. It's completely free, and that is the primary way that we communicate with you all. So definitely sign up for the newsletter if you have not already. And then lastly, if you would like to access this presentation recording will be uploaded to YouTube starting tomorrow. So if you want to go back and get any of the information, take a picture of any of the slides, you can do that by going to our parent and family YouTube page and accessing this presentation beginning tomorrow. Other than that, that's all we have for you folks. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. And please email if you have any questions. Bye, everybody.